This NBA offseason, we saw a lot of the unexpected. There were a lot of moves that really surprised everybody. Kawhi Leonard going to the Los Angeles Clippers, Paul George leaving the Oklahoma City Thunder, and I mean even Russell Westbrook. The NBA is really unpredictable in its nature, and I say this a lot. But perhaps one of the most shocking moves of the offseason was Kyrie Irving to the Brooklyn Nets. It may have not surprised you guys by much, but I mean it was a major shock for me. I do know Kyrie wanted to be a Net for a really long time. It was one of his dreams coming up. Anyways, the Nets just made it out of turmoil, and they did so with D'Angelo Russell. After that trade with the Celtics, the Nets were supposed to be bad for a really long time. But again, the Nets rebuilt, and they rebuilt strong, and they rebuilt right. They had a good team around D'Lo, who was again sort of the face of the franchise. Anyways, the Nets end up moving on from D'Lo, and Kyrie Irving teams up with Kevin Durant. Instantly, this seems like it has the making of one of the best NBA movies I've ever seen. You have this 7-foot guard essentially that can do anything on the basketball court. He plays like he's 7 foot, but also like a guard. A lot of guys, when they play down, they sacrifice their size. Not Kevin Durant. He's still able to do anything and everything. He's truly one of the most special players the game has ever seen. I don't know if we'll see another like him, but as far as Kevin Durant goes, there has been some drama throughout his career. And the same goes for Kyrie Irving. There were talks of Kevin Durant and some chemistry issues going on in Golden State. And when Kevin Durant left, a lot of that stuff really came to light. I thought for the most part Golden State handled everything really well, but especially Stephen Curry. He was the ultimate pro in the situation. But anyways, back to Kyrie Irving. Kyrie's history goes a really long way. Let's start at college. Kyrie only played 11 games at Duke, but that 11 games was more than enough apparently to show everybody that he should be the #1 overall pick. Be it was sort of a weak NBA draft, Kyrie was still the guy. The reason I bring this up is because this video, I'm going to kind of play the advocate. There's a lot of people that believe Kyrie was gifted everything in the NBA. I think that's an interesting take, but I don't think it's entirely true. Because in order for Kyrie to be drafted first overall, after only showcasing 11 games, he had to be insanely good. Kyrie was the #3 recruit coming out of high school. He's somebody I'm sure that has worked at basketball his entire life. It's not like Kyrie was just an absolute athletic freak. I'm not saying he's a bad athlete by any means, but what you're not going to take away from Kyrie Irving is that this is somebody that has put in the work day after day after day. Kyrie was a polished prospect. That's why he went #1 overall. Again, he was not some ultra athletic freak that people saw as a project going into the NBA. At only 6'2", 6'3", Kyrie Irving knew how to score, and he knew how to play make. He was compared to Chris Paul, and NBA Draft.net said he was a charismatic player with an imagination and mindset to become a standout point guard at the NBA level. They said he had a chance to be special, and he was. And he still is. This video, I'm going to be talking about how people think Kyrie Irving is ruining his NBA career. This video, we honestly have a lot to unload. This is a touchy topic, and rightfully so. I just ask that everybody watch with an open mind and really don't come to any conclusions maybe until the video is over. Or maybe no conclusion at all. You always don't have to jump into an answer or have to think that somebody is right. You can respect somebody's viewpoint. With Kyrie and Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets, I didn't really think it was a great match. I didn't really want to see Kevin Durant or Kyrie go to another big market because these guys, I don't want to say don't like the pressure, but they don't like a lot of the media. And well, where's the media most? They're in big markets. Now, I know they want to live their life media free, but that's not the basketball world that we live in right now. From a purely basketball standpoint though, I love the move, and I love Kyrie in Brooklyn, and I love Kevin Durant. Again, it sounds like a movie, and I'm sure next season, everything could be fine. The Celtics and the Nets recently played each other. At the Celtics home court, it was supposed to be Kyrie's return to the Garden. This game was insanely symbolic of Kyrie's time with the Boston Celtics. A lot of Boston Celtics fans don't like Kyrie, and I understand it, if nothing else. Kyrie's time in Boston was erratic. There were a lot of ups and a lot of downs. It really was a toxic relationship to a T. And it's easy to say that it started off on the wrong foot from the get-go. Remember I told you guys about the D'Lo situation and that nobody's ever hesitating to upgrade? Well, Isaiah Thomas for Kyrie Irving was a trade that both teams lost. But Kyrie was supposed to be that upgrade. Kyrie got his hardware after teaming up with a prime LeBron, one of the best players, if not the best, we'll ever see play the game of basketball. And we know Kyrie earned it. He was an impact player in every way imaginable. He was LeBron's Robin. It seemed like LeBron and Kyrie were honestly somewhat perfect for each other. But Kyrie wanted more for himself, and that's natural. He wanted to test the limits. He wanted to be the guy. He wanted to be on his own team. And he got that when he was traded to Boston. Isaiah Thomas, on the other hand, he was a guy that was slept on for the majority of his career. And he had a home in Boston. And Boston was incredibly his rise in Boston was insane. Isaiah Thomas had his heart broken by the Boston Celtics. And he gave everything for that franchise. It sucked to see. And I honestly, to this day, still cannot believe the Celtics made that move. Anyways, back to Kyrie. He recently posted this really long IG post, and you can take the post a lot of ways. I'll let you guys read it yourselves as the video goes on. But I thought the IG post was an interesting decision by Kyrie. The Celtics booed Kyrie, but they didn't stop at booing. They wore shirts that said coward on it. They called him out of his name. There were posters with coward on it everywhere outside of the arena. There were kids calling him coward. There were kids calling him out of his name. And honestly, as an NBA player, you're taught to ignore this stuff. But that's not the way mental health always works. It's not the same thing, and it'll never be the same thing. It won't be close to the same thing, probably ever for me. But I struggle to ignore bad comments sometimes. So I can't imagine what Kyrie feels when he goes to an arena or he watches something like this live and he has everybody, saying these bad things about him. He has everybody, the whole world. It's not like this is something that you can just escape because it's everywhere. You turn on your TV, you're probably getting notifications on your phone because, it's a lifestyle for him. This is honestly his life. Kyrie states that the NBA and a lot of sports create this picture of drama and that he just wants to play basketball, that's all he wants. But the thing is that you sign up for this, in my opinion, when you decide to play in the NBA. And again, I commend everybody for their battles with their mental health. And I commend everybody that's strong enough to speak out on it, like Kevin Love or like a DeMar DeRozan, and go about handling things in a very appropriate manner. Everybody deals with things differently though, and I also commend Kyrie for speaking out and voicing his opinion, because at the end of the day, you don't have to take what Kyrie says personally, and honestly that might be tough for a lot of people to accept, but you really don't. This post is so tough to understand though, because there's no truly correct answer. It can be viewed as, yes, I want all the money, but none of the accountability. Because at the end of the day, if there was none of this media, if we were just watching basketball at its purest form, it just wouldn't be as fun. If we couldn't have an opinion, if, we couldn't be emotionally invested as fans. So again, I'm not saying Kyrie is wrong in any way for feeling how he does. He has points. He makes valid, very valid points. And at the end of the day, he's right. Life is much bigger than basketball, and Kyrie's personal well-being will be much more important than the game of basketball or how some fans feel about him not deciding to stay long-term for the Celtics or maybe going back on his word. Again, I know of the promises he's broken, and I know that he did play a role in dividing the Celtics locker room, which looks fine this season with Kemba Walker. Kemba was a guy that just really wanted to get in a situation that could put him in a position to win, and he's been phenomenal. He dropped 39 points against the Brooklyn Nets, and we all know what recently happened with Kemba Walker. The Celtics are third in the Eastern Conference, and they're having an amazing start to their season. Now, where things get kind of ridiculous is that the Nets, with Kyrie Irving, are 4-7. Without Kyrie Irving, they're 5-2. If Kyrie really doesn't like the NBA and everything that it offers so much, there are other basketball leagues available, but in other sports leagues, I have to say that fans can get way, way worse. Although it doesn't make exactly how fans act right at all times, as we do know fans can definitely go too far. Again, I hope Kyrie makes the right move for himself, and in this instance it may be stepping away from the game of basketball for a while. I may not, but I'm going to say I speak for everybody when I say we all want to see Kyrie good, and I'm talking about in a mental or a holistic way. I think this Twitter user said it best. Kyrie is right. He has very valid points, but at the same time, if I was a GM running a business, I would stay far away from Kyrie. It's becoming more apparent that he has supreme talent, but he's not built for the business. I thought Shannon Sharp had a good point also when he said, of course real life matters more, but the problem is that when Kyrie talks, he comes off as combative and condescending. And so a lot of people can take what he says out of context. That's why I tried to stress earlier that what he says really shouldn't offend you. It was also good to see Kyrie Irving mixing things up with his former Celtics teammates after the Nets home game today. Like I said, we're all rooting for him. Be sure to click the video on the screen right now, guys. It's me going over Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins, how they are shocking the league. Be sure to subscribe. I'm D Coop, and I'm out.